Hi, today we talk about what Bruce Lee criticized about Wing Chun. As we know, Wing Chun was the first style Bruce Lee learned when he was a young man, and in some of his movies we still can recognize some moves that very clearly remind to Wing Chun. But on the other hand, most of the time when we watch his movies, we see that the way he moves is very different from the way we move in Wing Chun. So what did Bruce Lee really criticize about Wing Chun? He said, Wing Chun has no strategic fighting footwork. If he's correct with this saying, or what is the background of this saying, we'll discuss in this video. It's a very interesting question. So, first of all, when we watch the way he moves in his movies, the distance is very different from the distance that we normally have when we use Wing Chun in a fighting situation. Because here in Bruce Lee's fighting scenes, the distance is always quite big. He always wants to have the possibility to use high kicks, which is not so common in Wing Chun. Why does he do it? Because of course high kicks also look very interesting for a choreography, for a movie. It's more interesting than close range fighting. There is also one big problem about Wing Chun's footwork, especially in the beginning of Wing Chun. We know that Bruce Lee never reached a real high level within Wing Chun system. I mean, he was a great martial artist, but in the Wing Chun system, he never learned the really high forms. We know the story that Bruce Lee wanted to learn the wooden dummy form from his master Yip Man, and even offered to buy an apartment for Grandmaster Yip Man. But Yip Man refused and then didn't show him this form. So Bruce Lee never learned the wooden dummy form, so he also never learned the weapon forms in Wing Chun. And this is very important for these questions that we are discussing today, because when we talk about Wing Chun step work, we have to take this into consideration. Because really, when we look at the first form, Silium Tao, we don't have any step work. It's just standing in this Ichi-Kim Ya position. And also the step work we know from the second form, Jump Q, is always straight line, one leg in front. And it looks sometimes, when people perform this kind of step work, it looks even a little bit like a robot. It's always the same. So one might say this is really not very useful in a fighting situation. And even the third form, BG, has not so much new input about footwork. We do have those kind of circular moves that give an idea that there might be some kind of circular step work as well, but we don't really find it in the form. But even the higher forms Bruce Lee didn't learn. If you watch at the wooden dummy form, of course there's a little bit more information about how Wing Chun footwork works, but still this kind of footwork that we might call strategic footwork is very, very hidden also in the wooden dummy form. The reason is that because of the design the dummy is built, we cannot move completely freely, because it's not really possible to move in, because when you move in one step, then you have to go backwards. There is no possibility to keep moving forward. The dummy doesn't move. Also here, the kind of step work that we use as a strategic fighting footwork is very, very hidden. There's also a lot of information about footwork, especially in the butterfly knives form. Many people didn't learn the butterfly knives form, and even those who learned often didn't learn the right footwork. But if they did, then there is a lot of information how we can move much more freely. It's also said that one Wing Chun master can recognize the other master if he learned the butterfly forms properly or not, only by the way he moves, because then this changed the way of moving completely. So what I like to say is there is a strategic footwork in Wing Chun, but it really starts very late on a very high level, and even on the high level, even learn the forms like wooden dummy form, long pole or butterfly knife form, even there it's sometimes very hidden. So what Bruce Lee did, because he didn't find this information in Wing Chun, that's also one of the reasons why he was so interested in many other martial arts and tried to find for himself a new way of moving and was inspired by the way many other martial arts moves. And again, there is a difference because Wing Chun is a short fist system. Most of the other martial arts we know nowadays, like whatever we think about, if it's boxing, if it's karate, if it's taekwondo, whatever, they are all like long fist styles. So the way of movement is different. And what Bruce Lee did, he took over this kind of movements that these long fist styles use. And that's the way he moved. So it's true that Wing Chun's strategic footwork is very hidden. It's also true that it's very difficult in Wing Chun to really get a flexible and very fast and agile footwork. But I posted already a video about some exercises how you can develop this kind of very agile footwork. To summarize at the end, I'd like to say that it's not true that Wing Chun doesn't have strategic fighting footwork, but it's hard to find and not many people know about it. If you're interested in Wing Chun in this channel, you'll find many more videos, more and more also now, also in English, and maybe you also like to subscribe, then we see each other in one of our next videos.